Hello and welcome to this James the Bike Guy, where in this video, we're taking a look at the Liv Alight 4. Liv is Giant's women-specific brand, and the Alight falls in their city and recreation category of a one bike that kind of does it all. So in this video, we're going to go into why that might be true, how this stacks up against other bikes out there, and then of course, we'll find out exactly what it weighs. So if this kind of thing is interesting to you, I suggest you stick around and let's check out the bike together. Talking about the Liv Alight. Now, I've done a video of this bike's unisex counterpart, the Giant Escape 4, just recently because this bike is newly released for 2025. It's kind of a recently updated variant of these bikes. And one thing that really makes it interesting is it's about the last bike on sale today that I know of from a major manufacturer that still comes with a grip shift. And I say still not because that's a bad thing. It's just most bikes have come away from that. Now we'll talk about that in a bit, but to begin with the bike, what we have here is a aluminum framed fitness, recreation, kind of city bike, something to do it all that has a steel fork up front, that aluminum frame, and this particular one comes in that nice step over design, which means that it's going to make for an easy step to get your foot over and get onto the bike. Now, this is $650. It represents the least expensive in Liv's lineup for this style of bike. They do have higher spec, nicer variants of the bike, but the frame has mounts for a rack or fender to run on the back so you can have some gear out back. Really beautiful frame with a water bottle mount, even though it's both a size small in the bike we have here and has that step through style frame. And then you've got an aluminum cockpit with an aluminum handlebar, aluminum stem, and the handlebar has a little rise to it. And that's one thing to talk about with this is this bike is really going to be designed around being a more upright style position. So you can see here in a size small, that seat post, well, it's out a bit. And of course, that's going to go up and down based on your leg length. But your reach of this bike is relatively short, and the stack, basically how high it is that the handlebars start to fit into the frame, is nice and upright. And so that means instead of being like way bent over, you're going to be sitting in a more neutral and upright position, which also means when you kind of look out to traffic, it's going to have much more visibility than, say, a more performance-y style bike or a racy style bike. The other thing that's different here is this bike is rocking 38C tires, or 38 millimeter wide tires. These are 700C in diameter, which is road bike diameter. So you're going to get fast and efficient riding, but a 38 millimeter width means that the tire has enough grip for rough roads like it's on top of right now. It's going to roll fast on smooth pavement, and a little bit of gravel or a little bit of dirt is going to do just fine with the bike. The other thing that's going to make this a little more all roads capable is going to be in the braking system. So this being the least expensive model has mechanical brakes, but those are mechanical brakes that drop down the steel fork to a disc brake setup. So that brake is mechanically actuated. It grabs onto the disc here rather than a rim brake that used to go up top and grab onto the wheel. And the beauty of that is that means both better control and stopping power, but you do also get the benefit of, instead of having a rim brake up on the wheel that got affected by wet, or if you were to hit a bump and the wheel gets a little wobbly, everything being down in the center should be lower maintenance, a little bit easier to work with. It won't have quite as much braking power as a hydraulic setup that might come on, say, the Alight 3, but still plenty for most riding. Now, grip shift, that's pretty neat on this bike. And instead of, most bikes have a thumb button to go in easier gear, index finger to go to harder gear. Instead, you can just twist. So when you twist the gear, the lower the number, the easier it is to pedal, but the slower you go. Higher the number, harder to pedal, more load on that pedal, but the faster you go. And that's adjusting a rear derailleur out back on this bike through an 8-speed drivetrain. And you have that Tourney TX rear derailleur, 8 speeds, just in the back, and this is a true cassette. It's not a freewheel. We won't get too geeky on that, but that is a very good durability upgrade. And then up front, we have just a 1x style crank. So instead of having multiple speeds up front that you would have to shift through, everything's done in the back, making for pretty easy and smooth operation. And finally, before we get into the weight of this bike, let's touch on what this bike competes against. And so the most obvious bike that's in this same category that you might compare this to, well, that's the Giant Escape. And Giant and Liv being owned by the same parent company means that from a spec point of view, they're really similar, but the Liv is going to have a women's specific frame. It gets you that nice step over style design, and it's going to have a little bit taller front end and a slightly shorter reach than the equivalent Escape, meaning for some people that might be a little longer legged and shorter torsoed, you would find that the Liv could fit you better. Or if that doesn't quite match up with you, then maybe the Giant Escape is going to be the one that fits better. And that's kind of the beauty of being able to test ride the bikes, is to see what fits. Now, on the other side, you have Trek, which has their FX bike. Now, the FX is a unisex bike. They don't come in male or female. And the FX1 is going to be very similar to this bike. It's going to come in a little bit more expensive than this one. But with that, you have a slightly nicer drivetrain on the bike, but the other specs are pretty similar. And finally, the last one I would call into this that's also a bit different would be the specialized Sirrus 1.0X. And so the Sirrus X 1.0, well, that bike is going to be a little sportier in fit, so a little lower on the front end, not quite as upright and comfortable, but it's going to offer some wider tires, a little more all-road capability than this bike does. And for that, you're also paying a premium as well. And so this, compared to the other ones out there, the Liv and Giant are certainly going to be the more affordable of the mix. And with that, you're getting a really high-level A-Lux aluminum frame, but maybe just a slight step down on some of the part spec compared to those other two brands. So now that we've taken a look at how this compares, let's go ahead and find out what the bike comes in and weighs. So now that we've taken a look at the features and designs of this Liv Alight 4, I think it's time that we find out what this bike comes in and weighs. And the Liv Alight 4 comes in and weighs 26.22 pounds. So thanks for joining me to check out the Liv Alight 4. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. While you're at it, be sure to hit subscribe and browse the channel to see other videos like this to check out as well.